State of DFS. Welcome to State of DFS episode number 3 here at RotoCurve. I am your co-host, Jason Zernicki, here with Mike Rathburn and Dustin Gowker. Another great show. Pretty exciting things happening, obviously. It seems like every time we do an episode, we have something happening just recently. In case you can't hear, yes, that is thunder in the background. Here's our rundown, guys, for the show tonight. We're going to do a quick recap of FSTA. All three of us were there. Some interesting things obviously happened there. Just kind of give our takeaways from the conference. Then we're going to jump into Yahoo. A lot of things going on with Yahoo's DFS platform. A lot of chatter on Twitter. Are there deposit fees? Is this just a kind of a dipping their toes in the water into this product, or is this for real with Yahoo? Whole lot of things to cover with Yahoo. Also going to take a look at the DraftKings scripting issue. It's been around for a while, but finally we saw some remarks and terms of use changes with that from DraftKings this week. We'll go over that, and also too, we'll see. Hey, is there anything to update here with CBS and Amaya / PokerStars? As we've seen Yahoo make their debut, our CBS and PokerStars right around the corner. All right, let's start off with FSTA. Here are my takeaways in a nutshell. I was surprised that Victiv was not there. This leads some people to possibly think, that hot rumor is that PokerStars or Amaya is going to acquire Victiv. The voice against that is on that last conference call for Amaya. They said, hey, the takeaway from the analysts was they're going for their own product. We don't see to have anything in clarification for this, but it kind of lends itself to that rumor a little bit. We're going to have to wait and see. Kind of my thought there. I did not see a presence from Draft Day at FSTA either. I thought that was a little surprising.
Actually, Draft Day's CEO was there. Their new owners, Sportech, were not. I think they're just kind of getting the contract and everything, settled on what's going on. I think they're just kind of low key on being there, but the CEO of NGT was there. So.
Okay, so and just to clarify that point too, Dustin, that deal has not closed yet.
As far as I know, it's still, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any reason to think it's not closing. It's just not done, and they're publicly held corporations are just waiting to talk about it. So.
Okay. Other takeaways. I thought there was looking at elevator pitches and what was there and the companies that were there. There seemed to be a lack of innovation for DFS here moving forward. I did not attend previous FSTAs, but from what I've been told, reports from Michael Rathburn and other folks, there seemed to be this kind of momentum of moving forward with DFS, new things, new ideas, new, different kinds of apps, different kinds of games. That was really not, for me, present for this conference, in my opinion. And the last takeaway for me is if you are looking to get involved in DFS, I highly suggest you find yourself a fantastic mobile designer, mobile game, mobile platform way to get involved in this, whether it's algorithmic design of lineups, whatever. From what I can tell, there's just not enough of that, and the folks that were there who have gotten off to a good start with that type of business idea, I don't know if they have the knowledge to take it as deep as they could. So I think if you have the ability and the access to things to get involved heavily in mobile with some type of DFS algorithm, lineup builder, optimizer that's solely in that, I would highly suggest moving on that quickly. Why don't we go around table? You got Rath and Dustin. Let me give us your takeaways from FSTA. Rath, you want to go first?
Sure. My couple takeaways for me is that we talked about the number of people that were at the event. It was huge. We were there for a couple of days, and there were a lot of people that we didn't even get to say hi to. So I think the event needs to be expanded. I think the last time I went to a summer conference, there was less than 100 people. There had to be 400 to 500 people at this one. So, just from that perspective, I think we need to expand it a day at least to get around to everybody. And then also, I'd like to see the panels a lot more relevant and have more finger on the pulse. I think that if you look at previous FSTA panels, it looks like they're kind of just rolling the same stuff out there, maybe switching out some of the people. But a lot of the panels, to me, weren't really relevant in today's landscape of fantasy. They're very top line, and the people that are there are not these massive corporations like Microsoft and Google. They're guys like you and I. So I think from that perspective, it needs to be more ground level panel discussion, and then also there's really no interaction with the attendees and the panel. I think that's something that needs to be looked at. So that would be my takeaway.
Yeah. Dustin?
Yeah, for me, it's my first FSTA too. I thought that the most interesting one was a TV panel for me. I kind of put a transcript up of everything that one of the producers from ESPN said. How much you're going to see Matthew Berry on. He's going to be a prime part of Sunday Countdown. There's going to be a lot more fantasy just on ESPN in general. CBS seemed a little more standoffish on what they want to do with fantasy on TV. But I thought the integration that ESPN wanted to do was cool. I agree with Wrath. It seemed like there's so many people there, and there's so many different interests at FSTA that you probably do need a couple days. You might need to have split up panels. You might need to have two, some people going to one panel, some people going to the other. Maybe not everybody's interested in everything that's going on. So I can see that. You definitely get into more small groups and maybe a little more interaction. I think that would probably be a good thing for FSTA moving forward.
In terms of ESPN, Dustin, do you think that NFL Countdown? I mean, are you foreseeing potentially a DFS segment as part of the show, or maybe a DFS a DFS show on a Sunday morning on ESPN?
Not even so much that. The vibe you get is that they just want fantasy to be everywhere. I mean, I think the craziest stat I think I heard the whole weekend. There's lots of stats that come out of that, but I think ESPN said on Sunday 20% of their traffic on the website's something about fantasy on a Sunday, on an NFL Sunday, which is given how much sporting news is going on a Sunday, that's pretty amazing. Yeah. That's not fantasy heavy. So you're just going to see it everywhere. I'll be curious to see how they do it. But like I said, Matthew Berry is going to be a part of, he's just going to be part of the show. He's not going to be like, oh, let's go to Matthew for some fantasy stuff. He's just going to be there, talking to coaches, talking to players. He's going to be, a part of them. As if you.
So more of a natural integration of fantasy into the whole process. Okay, sounds good. All right. That's a takeaway from FSTA. Overall, I thought it was a good meeting. Like I said, I think there's certainly some things that could be improved, but it's talking to some of the folks who were there from previous FSTAs, and I think Soccer Dave had made the point on Twitter of DFS being kind of like the stepchild before to now kind of being running the show was quite a difference to see from previous FSTAs. All right, let's talk about Yahoo. It was quite a piece of news this week when they launched their DFS product. As Dustin mentioned in some of his coverage of this, it seems as if a lot of the news reports, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, first thing that they're really making this akin to, daily fantasy sports, that is online gambling, kind of a legal way of betting on sports. And I totally agree with Dustin, one of your points, and we'll get to it in just a moment, the concern is when you start to reference it as gambling, it's just like anything in life. The more and more you say something, the more and more people start to hear it and believe it, and that's how they register it. And for 4 years, this was registered as fantasy, and there was a minority of, hey, are we sure about this? But now, with this overwhelming stamp of gambling on it, I think there's certainly some concerns there. We'll talk about that in just a moment. I was impressed with the free rolls, how they filled those. That was a 5,000-person free roll on their second day of business that I believe was filled by early morning for Yahoo's product. I thought that was impressive. Obviously, seeing their cash games, not really much going on there. Obviously, there's no dead money there for people to get into and get involved. I think that's something we'll keep an eye on as things progress. The no lineup export function, obviously, is something they're going to have to take care of immediately. This deposit fee, certain people getting hit with a deposit fee and others not. what's going on with that. I think we're gonna need some explanation there. And then obviously we'll get into here, hey, this kind of looks a lot like certain aspects of FanDuel, a little bit of Victive thrown in here. So we'll get into that too. All right, so Raph, let's start off with you. Obviously I threw a couple things out there for Yahoo. Touch on those if you want, pick whatever you want, and just the overall thoughts here of Yahoo DFS.
Well, my take on Yahoo is I thought it was interesting that there was very little fanfare leading up to them going live. It just kind of seemed to happen organically, and then everybody said, it's kind of like, oh, you need to go, when there's an item on sale at the mall and everybody runs to the store. It seemed like it was kind of that, and maybe that was done on purpose. Maybe they purposely didn't want to say, hey, we're going live on this date because they felt like the traffic, might be an issue. But I think the surprise was the amount of GPPs, like that $50,000 GPP that they put out there for $2. I think that was interesting. It's like, obviously they knew that there's no way the thing was going to fill, and they did it clearly on purpose. They wanted as many unique lineups on that site as possible. They're smart in that they ran those free rolls and they filled them very quickly. They got registered users on the site, and that's the key. So they got a ton of people on the site making lineups already with a minimal investment, and so they're going to keep. I would imagine they're going to keep doing it. Maybe they scale back a little bit. They don't want to lose as much in overlay, but look at the way the prize structures were. Huge first place prize, and then kind of lousy payout structures throughout. But I believe the pay trails were about 33%, and if they only fill half, then they're almost like a 50-50. Not a true 50-50, but just saying like 50% of the field's going to get paid out. So I think those are the two takeaways for me. For me, I thought the site is very clean. I love the mobile. I like the concept that they're using with the $200 salary cap because it kind of plays into season-long auction baseball leagues, in that you use a $260 cap for season-long baseball if you play an auction. So I like that aspect of it. It's different. Does the scoring system need adjustments? Yes. Are there features that need to be added? Yes. But look, they're launching July 9th, July 8th. They got 2 months to kind of figure this out, or I guess 2 months or so to figure it out before NFL, and that's really what the plan is.
Dustin?
Yeah, and on the figuring out part, obviously, we were talking about FanDuel's reaction, which was kind of surprising. I reached out to them, and they're saying how it looks a carbon copy. Like they had a comment for me, and then Nigel Eccles actually talked to the Wall Street Journal, gave a comment to them saying it was pixel for pixel what FanDuel does, the Yahoo lobby. Now, I think the mobile app doesn't look much at all like it, but you go to the web platform, you see a similarity. It looks like FanDuel a lot. It's white. It's logo's kind of the same. It's it's there. But it's curious that FanDuel kind of inserted itself into the news story that way. It's their whether it's because they're really mad or because they're just trying to take some steam out of Yahoo sales. I don't know, but it was out there and that was a big deal. Yeah, the media coverage from the gambling standpoint, it's the kind of thing where, like you said, you take the genies out of the bottle. People are calling it gambling. And politicians and important people read Wall Street Journal and New York Times. Some of these puff pieces that are done about DraftKings and FanDuel skirt the issue, or it's not like a major topic. But New York Times comes out and says it's gambling. Wall Street Journal says it's gambling. The FSTA, you'll hear them use hobby and things that are on the absolute opposite end of the spectrum. And obviously, daily fantasy sports is to some extent losing that battle of what is gambling, whether it's gambling or not. I think a lot of people agree on its face it looks like gambling. Whether it's a skill game on top of that too, sure, I think there's an argument for that from a lot of different perspectives. But yeah, genie's out of the bottle. It's hard to for public opinion to start going backwards on it, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I do think that the thing that they have going for them is this being incorporated with certain NFL teams, Major League Baseball. I mean, you do have as much of a negative impact to be involved with this constant hammering potentially of the G word. You also do have this positive aspect. Well, if I'm at Citizens Bank Park and I see DraftKings on the home one wall, that can't be illegal. That's the kind of thing, that natural thought that people think like, oh, I'm not doing anything wrong. It's okay. It's a legal product. I think that perception obviously will help. But there's going to have to be, and Wrath, I think I saw you post something on Facebook before we did the show tonight. There's going to have to be some type of reiteration or continuous documentation or metrics to go against the gambling term. I think FSTA did bring something out about it. They're going to have to continue to butt the head there, put your head up against the wall, and keep hammering it before, like I said, I think we said last show, there is that major conservative contingent of click a mouse, lose your house that will run with something, because they need something to lobby for and raise money for. So that's certainly a concern. Let's pick up on that deposit fee real fast. I did a deposit on Yahoo. I was not. It was via PayPal. I did not get hit with a deposit fee. There has been some comments on Twitter of a $1 deposit fee. I think obviously Yahoo's going to have to come out and clarify this. We also had a test run of a deposit with a credit card. That did not get hit with a deposit fee, so I'm not sure where this authorization of a deposit fee is coming from. So hopefully that is explained to us pretty soon. The last thing here I want to touch on Yahoo is this. Some comments on Twitter of, not, Wrath, to your point, not a lot of fanfare. Not exactly an exciting product. Hey, it looks a lot like a little bit of Victive, a little bit of FanDuel. Could Yahoo just be dipping their toe in? Or does football come along and they essentially launch a new aspect, a new game of daily fantasy that obviously that we're not aware of. There's a referral program debut which helps push the new product. We'll take that around the table real fast. I mean, is it nuts to think, Wrath, that they're just dipping their toe?
No, not at all. I mean, I think people have a very short memory in this industry, and that remember DraftKings launch was around the same time. I think DraftKings launched around May or June, and there was very little fanfare, and then it kind of came out that it was these three guys from Vistaprint that had, raised some money and had some pretty good backing and looked to be big-time players. The initial site was very unassuming and not that great, and over time they improved it tremendously. So I know it's Yahoo, and everybody has these crazy expectations. It's like, they've been working on this for a while. And it comes a point where you say to yourself, we've got to roll this out. We've got to go live, and we'll fix things on the fly as long as nothing's major, nothing's going to break. We saw what happened with Fantasy Draft and the debacle that happened there. Yahoo is a completely different entity, and so for me, I think people are being critical just for the sake of being critical, because that just seems to be the thing to do nowadays in DFS, but I don't really have a problem with anything that they've done. I think the issue about the deposit fee, I have a big problem with if they're not disclosing it. But look, I don't expect a product to be fully. What tech company launches a product that's fully ready on the first go around? Nobody. Seems kind of silly that people complaining about some of this stuff.
Dustin, want to close us out here on that?
You don't want to go live on NFL Week 1 with a big contest, then it doesn't work. What you want to do is offer free rolls during the middle of baseball, right before the All-Star break. It's not pretty low pressure if things don't go well. I don't think there's been any massive problems so far. And they want to get the kinks worked out right now, and that's where it's at for them. You don't want to raise expectations and then fail. So
I would say outside of this deposit fee and the no lineup export function, I don't think it could have gone any better for Yahoo, honestly.
The bottom line is, look at how many users they got in the last 24 hours. That should shut everybody up.
Yeah. I'm the guy, in my old crystal ball thing from our first episode. I said, hey, I don't know if Yahoo's going to do real well with this. I will say that day 1.5, day 2. Making me look like I have no idea what I'm talking about so far. I think it's a good launch for Yahoo, and hopefully things continue to improve for them in terms of innovation. All right, let's get into the hot topic. we saw DraftKings finally come out this week. I shouldn't say finally, but maybe I guess it is the case, and do a terms of use statement on running scripts. And Wrath, why don't we just mention? I mean, we obviously at RotoCurve speak to a lot of new DFS players. Maybe just a quick, brief overview of what it is and what pisses people off about it and why it's effective with other people.
Well, you know, the term script represents a program. I've been hearing the word algorithm. My understanding is that it's a program. I don't know if it's an algorithm behind the program or what it is, but just from speaking to people, you know, a script is a program that's written and it's designed to carry out the steps that you have it laid out. So, you know, somebody may have a lineup builder in the background, a lineup generator that's it's taking projections. And then it's, you put in, say, hey, I want to build 500 unique lineups, or, you put in inputs where you say, I want to own this player 50% in my contest, or et cetera. And then it's spitting out the 500 lineups. And then it's taking those lineups and it's automatically generating them on the site so that you don't have to manually do it. It's doing it all in one keystroke. Of course, that's going to give somebody a serious edge, because they're going to be able to play, a serious level of action in a very quick period of time versus the guy who's kind of doing click and mortar, where he's having to enter, his 20 or 50 lineups, all, doing it manually. So there's a significant edge. Now, it kind of, that's really, in a nutshell, whether it's entering lineups, whether it's withdrawing lineups, whether it's entering contests that are guaranteed, or whether it's making a change to a lineup, because if you have a player that's not going to play, you need to be able to make a change all in one full swoop. It's just not something that can be manually done when you're talking about 50 or 500 or 1,000 lineups. So that's really where it comes into play.
And Dustin, I think that one part of your article that about this that really grabbed my attention, and I'll let you speak to it, I just want to highlight it, is this could be a threat to this being a game of skill. If this is essentially computer programs entering in lineups, this seems to be some people fear that this could, obviously have a huge negative impact on the industry.
Yeah, I don't think it's even been out there long enough that people realize that it's, not even. I've talked to a couple lawyers today who are just kind of digesting it today. It was kind of out there, and but yeah, if this is not people like skillfully setting a lineup for going through and saying this is, and they're just running a script. There's a question in my mind of whether it's a skill game. That's the basis of its legality in a lot of jurisdictions. And if you're just computer program versus computer program, everybody's if we're getting to the point where everybody's going to be running scripts instead of looking at it physically, and, or have spreadsheets, however you're setting a lineup, then it's not it's not a skill game anymore. You're just you're mashing buttons like a video game or something. It's not. I guess video game might not be a good comparison because there's skill in that too, but I'm just saying that there's legal implications there if scripting goes too far, and neither DraftKings or FanDuel is apparently real interested right now in stopping it. Obviously, there's speculation out there that there's a lot of grinders out there, pros who are already doing this, and that DraftKings was just kind of backpedaling so that people can do this like under their terms of service. I don't know that for sure, but I'd say there's a lot of people who think that's the case, and I don't think I've seen anybody. I don't think I've seen an issue kind of rile up players and people in the industry more than this than I saw on Twitter today. People were kind of seemed like they were fired up after the announcement yesterday. I think it was on Roto Grinders about this issue, and certainly people are fired up. And it's I don't know if it'll go away, but it was an issue. The other thing worth noting is scripts are an issue in online poker. And I've written, and some other people have written, that online poker, DFS sometimes doesn't always follow some of the lessons from online poker that make it some of the same mistakes. This could be one of them. You never know. So.
Hey, Jason, real quick, with us working behind the scenes in the industry, we always talk about timing of announcements and mergers and acquisitions. Do you think it's ironic that the timing of this scripting issue is coming at the slowest point of the year and about 30 to 60 days prior to NFL launching.
Oh, I agree. It's also too you're now going to go into a week essentially of no contests after this weekend with the All-Star break. So I think it comes out, it hits ahead and it goes away. I think it's well timed. We see this happen a lot of time too, and in Wall Street, a lot of times a press release will come out Friday at 5 o'clock for the weekend. So there's certain ways to do things. I don't blame DK. You have to do what you have to do. It's just something that at some point there had to be a comment on, and in terms of use change. So it's I don't listen. They're, as Dustin said, they're in a tough spot. I mean, the amount of revenue being generated from these folks puts them in a tough position. But here's why this, to me, in the future, guys, is a non-issue. This will become a tool for everyone to use at some point. You're going to be able to go somewhere potentially like RotoCurve, hopefully, and we will have something that will allow you to come in and be able to access DraftKings API and be able to do something like these pros are doing. And I think in the future, this problem goes away if more and more people have access to this type of tool. But the principle of this is the fact that I think there's always going to be, and this happens in every industry, technology leads the way. There's always somebody's going to find another type of way to find an edge. As long as that eventually, whittles its way down to the more common player who can also start to feel as if it's not an uneven process, then I think, like I said, this problem begins to go away. How long it takes for that to happen, I'm not sure about. I've seen, I've seen Cal at RotoGrinders think that this is something that they can offer pretty soon. So I think that the uproar will calm down, and the ability for people to feel like they can kind of compete with a similar tool will help this problem for the industry be alleviated, and I hope that happens. Obviously, it's not great for the pros who are seeing the benefits from it right now, but I do think eventually it alleviates itself and the industry grows from it. Any last comments here, guys, on scripting?
So.
All right, cool. All right, let's close out with this, and this is probably anticlimactic. Do we have any news on CBS or PokerStars? That seems to be the hot topic too. Hey, where is PokerStars now that Yahoo is out? Dustin, do we have anything that we can tease anybody with, or is it all still kind of just nothing? A whole lot of nothing.
I wish I had something for you. Yeah, the thing is, with Yahoo going live, we were talking about it earlier. They're kind of beta testing it right now. Basically, they're going live, but this is practice for the real thing. If PokerStars is going live with a product that's integrated into their own system, I think they want to be out there pretty soon. They don't want to be week one saying here's our PokerStars DFS platform and it fails. They go through beta testing for their new versions of their poker client. It's a hugely long process before they say this is really the client you want to use. There are all sorts of stages to it. They're very careful about rolling out software and trying to make sure it's stable and all that. So I guess I find it hard to believe that something they're building, unless it's coming out real soon, we're 2 months away right now from the NFL season, that if they're building it themselves, that we got to see it soon. If they're buying something and it's like, here's the platform, and then you can play here, but we own it, and then we're gonna, later on we'll integrate it or do something else with it, then that's another thing. They can do that without too much fanfare, without testing and such. But yeah, if it's their own product, I'm kind of wondering where it is now, and now especially now that Yahoo's live.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, that that rumor being that Victiv's a target. I mean, like I said, there's nothing to substantiate that, and everything that's come out from PokerStars in analyst reports have been that it is their own platform that they're building. So I guess it's just going to be a kind of wait and see a game for us. I can tell you this: some scuttlebutt from FSTA is that CBS could have something coming out within a month from that conference. So that would kind of put us within about a 2-week window of actually seeing their product. I know nothing else other than that. I've heard some rumors that it's like a heavy app-based product, but I know nothing. I heard we heard that about Yahoo too, and obviously their app was heavily introduced yesterday as well. So, like I said, the real only news there is that I think we're 2 weeks away from seeing what CBS, the DFS platform offering from CBS will be. So hopefully in two weeks when we're back here with another state of DFS, we'll have some CBS news to report, and hopefully we'll have some answers too on some of the questions we had on Yahoo, and then maybe PokerStars news will finally be out too. So that is it, folks. Another fun and exciting edition of the State of DFS. I think the summer of 2015 is going to continue to be very exciting. The spring was, and hopefully I think we'll have some more hot topics to discuss here in about 2 or 3 weeks when we're back here again for another state of DFS. Dustin and Raph, thanks again for your time, and everybody have a great night. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks a lot.